Hey guys, welcome back for some more natural selection and speciation work. So, like we talked about last week, this isn't as scary as it seems like it could be. Really, we're just looking at what we call survival of the fittest. In science, fit means not like strong muscles, though it could mean that. Fittest means you are able to survive, reproduce, and pass on your traits to your offspring. So you could be really strong, but not able to reproduce. Where one mouse could be, or one creature could be really smart and able to reproduce. So you could pass that trait down to your offspring. But what if you were really smart and not able to pass that trait to your offspring? Then you wouldn't be very biologically fit. So in science, we want to be biologically fit. You have the ability to survive and pass that trait down to your offspring. So an example of that we see up here is we've got a field of mice and a scary bird. So due to no fault of their own, some mice here are dark and some are light. Now, this change could be something sudden, like maybe a volcano erupted and covered the land in ash. Or maybe it was something like you just happen to get a group of mice that are born mutated into a different color. We don't know in this situation, and it doesn't really matter. But we do know that the bird that's flying by is able to go, oh, yummy, I see some mice for dinner. What color is that bird going to eat? The light colored ones, because it's easy for them to see. They're flying by, woo, tweet, 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 and they see the light colored bird or mice, so they're going to grab them and eat them up. That means we have just these 3 dark mice and these 2 light colored mice. Well, which mice do you think have a better chance of surviving? The dark ones. Which ones do you think have a better chance of reproducing? The dark ones. So they're going to have more of the dark mice surviving and reproducing. So eventually, over several generations, this whole population is going to end up being dark mice. These 2 white mice aren't going to be able to reproduce because the dark mice are going to be like, hey, no, not reproducing with you. You keep getting all your family eaten. So they're not going to be reproducing any. What happened if the opposite happened at this point now? Let's say that we got a whole bunch of white ground. Maybe a snowstorm happened, or humans dumped a bunch of sand there from Siesta Key and they've turned it white. Well, then the opposite would happen. We'd work our way backwards. In that case, the white mice here would blend in and the dark mice would stand out. Then the bird would come by and eat the dark mice, leaving more white mice to reproduce, and you'd get a field of mostly white mice. This doesn't mean every mouse in the entire universe is going to be dark here or white on this side. It just means that in this specific location, we're going to see this happen. So this is another chart kind of showing us this here. So this one happens to be with Darwin's finches, and you're going to be playing a game this week, and you're going to study Darwin a bit this week. So in this case, you have a parent who's got 3 different color offspring, a white, a gray, and a dark gray. Well, because of whatever we're dealing with our example, the white one dies off. So we don't have to worry about that guy anymore. The light gray survives a little bit longer and reproduces, but he's still not the best at surviving. So he dies off. However, the dark gray one reproduces, makes more offspring, and keeps reproducing and making more offspring. So the most favorable trait is most likely to survive. The light colored trait, as we saw over here, wasn't very favorable. It didn't help anybody survive. Over here, the darker colored trait helped them survive, so they got to travel down and survive more generations. That's what we're looking for this. So we need to see something making you different from the rest of your population, and that difference needs to be something you can pass on to your offspring. And then your offspring need to be able to survive. So you're different, your difference makes you more biological fit, and you can pass that trait onto your offspring. That's how we see natural selection happen.